If you're in the country illegally, you shouldn't feel comfortable. Absolutely not.
Coming up on WUFT Midday, a major crackdown from President-elect Donald Trump. The message he's sending to governors opposed to his plan. Plus, a North Central Florida representative joins Trump's administration. What this means for the community he serves. And the threat of a government shutdown looms, why government leaders have not announced a plan yet. WUFT Midday starts now.
Watching WUFT Midday.
President-elect Trump is shaping up his administration, announcing his first cabinet picks and appointees expected to fulfill his energy and immigration promises that he made on the campaign trail. This is WUFT Midday. I'm Jessica Nitti. As Bree Jackson reports, President Biden prepares to host the president-elect at the White House on Wednesday.
A week after Election Day, and President-elect Trump is filling his cabinet. Mr. Trump is expected to tap Senator Marco Rubio for Secretary of State, although sources say he could still change his mind. Trump is also seeking to fulfill one of his top campaign promises, naming Tom Homan as the border czar who will lead his mass deportation efforts.
If you're in the country illegally, you shouldn't feel comfortable. Absolutely not. I won't feel comfortable if I'm in the country illegally.
Homan sending a stern warning to governors opposed to the plan.
They better get the hell out of the way. Either you help us or get the hell out of the way.
Homan's message, a possible sign of things to come under Trump's second term. The president-elect meets with President Biden Wednesday to discuss a peaceful transition of power. Meanwhile, Democrats on Capitol Hill are preparing to fight back against policies proposed under Trump's second term.
Stephen Miller and Tom Homan were the architects of a lot of the first Trump administration horrific immigration policies. And so family separation, mass detentions, those kinds of things is what was promised and by the Trump administration, and I think what we're going to have to fight.
Senator-elect Ruben Gallego won Arizona. The GOP has an edge in both the Senate and the House. Senate Republicans are gearing up for a leadership battle. President-elect Trump urging those vying for majority leader to allow recess appointments where he could install certain positions without Senate confirmation.
This preemptive effort to install cabinet members by recess appointments, this is a Trump feature.
Senators will vote on a majority leader Wednesday. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
A recently re-elected Florida representative is heading to the White House to join President-elect Donald Trump's cabinet. Trump selected Florida Congressman Mike Waltz to serve as his national security advisor. That's according to 4 sources familiar with the decision. Waltz is a Green Beret veteran who served in Afghanistan, the Middle East, and Africa. Since 2019, he has represented a Florida congressional district in the House, where he's a member of the Armed Services, Foreign Affairs, and Intelligence Committees. Lawmakers are returning to Capitol Hill to the fast-approaching threat of a government shutdown. The deadline for a temporary or permanent funding fix is December 20th. House Speaker Mike Johnson has not said what the chamber's plan for the issue is yet. Many Republicans prefer for Johnson to strike a spending deal during the lame duck Congress, but plenty of conservatives are urging the GOP to punt everything until Trump has the reins in 2025. Pushing that funding fight to next year would put Trump in a position to have far greater say, but Republicans would risk a chaotic fight in Congress that could dominate the early days of Trump's second term. And a horrific dust storm knocked out power and caused significant damage to Central California residents. WUFT's Crystal Felix joins us live in the newsroom with how it's impacting people.
Jessica, this storm created dangerous travel conditions for drivers yesterday. The footage tells a detailed story in one of the neighborhoods. This storm created terrible travel conditions for drivers and left thousands without power. Neighbors watched in horror as massive storms split trees and just missed playing children. In Hanford, the National Weather Service issued a dust storm warning for people to take necessary precautions. At least 12,000 around Fresno were left without power. Live in the studio, Crystal Felix, WFT News.
A Spirit Airlines flight from Florida was hit by gunfire while trying to land in Haiti on Monday. The plane was diverted to Santiago, Dominican Republic, where it landed safely. A flight attendant suffered minor injuries, but no passengers were harmed in the incident. The attack marks the second time in under a month that an aircraft has been targeted while flying over Haiti's capital. Spirit Airlines confirmed that after the plane was inspected in Santiago, damage consistent with gunfire was discovered. And as the Florida Gators baseball team continues through its fall practice slate, redshirt junior pitcher Pierce Capalla is set to take on a sizable role in Florida's pitching rotation this spring. WUFT's Jack Meyer has more on how Capalla has persevered through all kinds of obstacles in his time with the Gators.
While Pierce Capalla is set to play a key role on the mound for the Gators this spring, he has had to battle through all kinds of hurdles and lingering injuries to get to this point in his career.
Coming out of New Jersey, the 6'8" left-hander Pierce Capalla was looking to make an instant impact for the Florida Gators in 2022. But instead, his debut season was cut short due to a lingering back injury after he made just one appearance on the mound.
I didn't want to get back surgery. It's just something scary to me, and you sign a waiver like, hey, like you could be paralyzed. Like if coming out of this, so it was a scary moment for me. Like my parents really didn't want me to get the surgery, but I mean, at the end of the day, it was something I needed to do to be able to play again and like have my leg be healthy because my nerve could have like died from it. So
Capalla sat out the remainder of his freshman season only to have more injury flare-ups upon returning to practice that fall. Upon receiving the news that he would not be able to pitch in 2023, Capalla was crestfallen.
That one was rough. Like I got Jarrett, our athletic trainer, told me at practice, and I was like, damn, like again. I ended up going home. Like I got in my car. I just called my mom. I was crying, like in my tears in my car. I'm just like, this is just not fair. Like I literally just got over like the injury and something that like took a toll on my life for like 7 months. Like
after 2 years away from the mound, Capalla finally made his return to the diamond for the Gators midway through the 2024 season. Despite some rough patches, Capalla helped the team make its way to Omaha as a College World Series semifinalist. Now Capalla is preparing to play a key role in Florida's pitching rotation this spring. While the stakes may be high, however, he's not letting any of this pressure get to him on or off the field.
I think you hit all the spots. I'm just a 6'8" dude that likes to get hurt, pretty much. So.
Capalla and the Gators are set to kick off the 2025 regular season on February 14th as they will host Air Force in a 3-game series at Condren Ballpark. Live in the studio, Jack Meyer, WUFT Sports.
Tonight, city commissioners and Archer meet to discuss the city's ongoing financial struggles. We told you last month about 3-month forensic audit examining the city for potential fraud, misconduct, or other irregularities. The audit revealed the city owes the IRS approximately $177,000 in employment taxes. This is nearly 1/5 of Archer's annual budget of just over $1 million. The meeting is open to the public at 6 p.m. at Archer's City Hall. Ocala firefighters are reminding neighbors of easy ways to practice fire safety after responding to 2 preventable fires this weekend. The first fire was in northeast Ocala around 5 p.m. A grease fire ignited on the first floor of an apartment building, causing damage to the apartment where it started, as well as neighboring units. The fire was contained and no injuries were reported. And just 45 minutes later, crews responded to a second fire in southwest Ocala. Crews say the fire was caused by a generator housed inside a storage closet. No injuries were reported, but you should never leave a generator indoors. Crews say you should stay alert, never leave cooking food unattended, and turn off the stove if you need to leave the kitchen. Keep a safety distance between cooking appliances and flammable items. Clean cooking surfaces regularly to avoid grease building up. And you should also make sure you have a working fire extinguisher in the kitchen and know how to use it. One person is injured after a train collided with 2 semi-trucks on a railroad crossing. Alachua County Fire Rescue crews say they responded to an incident in Hawthorne around 7:30 on Monday night. Take a look at these photos. One semi-truck has minor damage, but the other was heavily damaged. The accident caused complete blockage of the railway and intersection, as well as a large diesel fuel tank leak. The area is now clear and all hazards in the area have been removed. And taking a live look outside on our DOT cameras, this is I-75 over Paynes Prairie. No traffic heading north towards Gainesville or south towards Ocala this afternoon. We're seeing cloudy skies on our commute today. UF forecaster William Maxham is tracking when we could see the return of sunny skies.
Yeah, Jessica, slowly but surely skies are going to get sunnier and sunnier as we go ahead through time into the afternoon, but still looking at the campus cam here right over downtown Gainesville and the University of Florida. We've got very limited amounts of blue in between those clouds looking westward. A few patches of clearing sky, but that sun going to gradually get more and more dominant as we get later into the afternoon. There's a small chance for sprinkle or two underneath these clouds in the next hour or so. Currently it's 77. Gainesville warmer under the sun, in Ocala 84 degrees, also 84 in the Villages. We do have a couple of sprinkles in the past hour. We have to squint to see them, just a few little flecks of green here. That's about all we've got locally and about all there is into the region. A couple of little flecks of blue being picked, or green rather, being picked up by radar. That's about maybe a 10% chance of any of those raindrops making it all the way to the ground. We have one kind of lingering leftover band of clouds sticking across the Florida Peninsula, but like I said, not much chance of significant rains today, but a few drops here and there certainly possible through the rest of our Tuesday afternoon. Around the region, we have pretty quiet weather over the next several days. Temperatures will remain into the 80s. Low pressure area, the remnants of an old tropical system into the Gulf, but further southward, we have a potentially new tropical system to worry about. The Hurricane Center says there is a high chance of a new named storm developing here south of Cuba by the end of the week. Computer models are supporting this. They are in fairly good agreement about developing a low pressure area here by the weekend. However, what is less clear is where this storm is going to be going. Steering currents are very weak. We could be dealing with a tropical system threatening the Florida coastline early next week, but it's a lot of time between now and then, and these forecasts likely will change, but keep checking back in. You know, tropical season does continue all the way through the end of the month. If this storm does get a name, it would be Sarah. That's the next name on the list. But again, those chances of it impacting the state of Florida looking fairly low at this point. One thing that will impact us, though, is a drop in temperatures. Cold front arriving for the weekend will knock temperatures out of the 80s into the 70s for highs for Saturday and Sunday. Those morning lows chilly into the 50s.
Red Lobster is betting on a millennial makeover following their bankruptcy. The attempt comes as they try to bring in younger guests, which is desperately needed after the chain closed over 100 of its 640 restaurants earlier this year. The seafood chain has now exited bankruptcy and is gearing for a comeback under their new 35-year-old CEO. Visits to Red Lobster were down more than 43% in October compared to the same time last year, according to a Placer AI, a location analytics company. To start, the revamped Fortress Investments Group is kicking in $60 million towards reshaping the brand's value offerings, service, and atmosphere. Microsoft Paint is getting an AI upgrade. The company is rolling out new artificial intelligence tools for the program as a part of an update to Windows 11. Paint is a very basic graphics editing program that comes free with Windows. But this update gives users access to new features, including the ability to add AI-generated graphics to their artwork simply by typing what they want to see. Users can create and edit AI images on top of their own pre-existing artwork. The update will be available first to people who are registered in their Windows Insider program. Now let's get over to WUFT First at 5 anchor Mar Roches with a look at what's coming up on First at 5 on Channel 5.
Coming up on First at 5, basketball, vandalism, and election recounts. First, after a Gator basketball win last night, head coach Todd Golden addressed Title IX complaints. More on what he said. Plus, Bread and Roses Women's Health Center was vandalized again after the results of the election day. And election recounts continue to take place in Alachua County. All that and more at 5.
Before we go, one last check on the weather.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. We've got a drop in temperatures coming at the end of the weekend, but until then, we've got a couple of days in a row where temperatures are going to climb into the low 80s. Today, there is a small chance for a sprinkle or two, but most areas stay dry. Again, our cold front moves in Friday into the weekend. You'll notice a drop in the afternoon, but those early morning temperatures, they're really going to take a dive. We're into the 60s the next few, but we're waking up potentially into the 40s in a few locations on Sunday. That is going to be a big change.
Thanks for joining us for WUFT Midday. We're back here tomorrow for another edition. We now join Sports Scene with Steve Russell live on WRUF Radio and right here on WRUF-TV Channel 6.